Cosmos project, the ERC project that I lead. And so just to give you an idea of what PhysmoNote does, PhysmoNote was created as a web-based citizen science platform to annotate performed music. So it's a time-based, music is a time-based medium. So we needed to be able to capture the kinds of things that happen during music, like the tempo and the loudness. These are layers of information that can be toggled on and off. And we also built in capabilities for annotating the music. And the things that we are able to use to annotate music include boundaries of 4 different levels, levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, as well as regions of interest and free-form comments. So those are going to come up next. Those are regions that have been annotated. Yeah, so that was a region of interest. These are boundaries. So you see level 4 boundaries are thicker and level 1 boundaries are thinner. And you can name the boundaries. You can name what it is that you've annotated. So I'm showing you this because PhysmoNote incorporates a lot of these capabilities as well. These are notes that are prominent. So you see there MIDI notes as well as the audio signal. So event information as well as signals. Okay. Now, PhysmoNote doesn't come out of nothing. There's a lot of annotation software out there, and here I've listed 2 dedicated to music on the left. That's Solid Visualizer. These are all free, freely downloadable, and the one for speech, Pratt on the right. So these are for audio waveforms, and but we wanted to create our own because these were not specifically for performed music and for performed structures. We wanted to have a way of showing the data we were collecting in our research project. And one of the first things we did, which was shown in Computer and Cardiology in 2019, was a cardiac response to live music study with pacemaker patients. And here, this is the music. You can see the music starts very soft and suddenly becomes very loud. This is the ARI, activation recovery intervals, from the EGMs, intracardiac electrograms. And we have here, you see the very low ARI just after the loudness increased starkly. And when the tempo 1, the return of the main theme, comes back, the ARI becomes much higher. And this is what happens in the music, the loudness and the tempo, so we can correspond the loudness and tempo to what's happening in the ARIs to try to understand the effects of the music. Here we've also played around with player and listener physiology. If you want to look at this data and listen to the music, you can log in as EHJ guest with the password music heart to be able to play around with the data and with the data layers. So this is a region leading up to a tipping point and the release and the return, and you can see the player is already relaxing as we're approaching the tipping point, but oh, that's the RMSSD, by the way. And over here, the listener, however, does not know that the release and return is coming and is getting more and more tense, so the RMSSD is decreasing as we approach the point of return. Okay. We also recorded heartbeats and breathing of Dennis Noble as he was listening to the Schubert Trio, the one that he uses in his talks, the music of life. So just go online and look at his talk. So this is his respiration, And I'm going to ask you to breathe along with Dennis Noble as you listen to this trio. Down, in, out. Deeper breath. He holds his breath. Breathe again. Okay, so this is what you can do with a visualization. So because we have this, and audio is typically 44.1 kilohertz, it's a lot denser than physiological signals, we can do this with physiological signals. And so PhysmoNote was born because we wanted to then use all these capabilities for all the PhysioNet data sets. So here is the first example, showing the same zooming in capability for a ventricular tachyarrhythmia database record. So here, you can forward the record, windows of the record, and you can also now zoom into a section of the record. So that's a zoom in window. And you can adjust the edges of the window and zoom in further. This is pretty fast, it's basically in real time. And you can play and see the record scroll by. And you can also reset it to where you were in the beginning. So that's one of the things that you can do, but there are many other things you can do. So I'm going to go to another database. This is the Fantasia database. And here we have different kinds of signals, but also metadata. So we have the signals that are represented and the annotations. And just like with PhysmoNote, in PhysmoNote you can also toggle on and off the different layers and examine them one at a time. And I think I'm going to next go to another record of this, just to see different kinds of records being pulled up. Here's the respiration and ECG. Oh, I'm going to toggle the annotations first. And now the third record. And I'm going to zoom in now to one of the regions that's marked, that was annotated as a region of interest. So here are the three signal types. Here there's also blood pressure. The notes there tells you other information about the patient from which this was recorded. So we're not responsible for this data, it's all from PhysioNet. So now zooming in to one of the annotated points. Yeah, so now you can see what's happening around there. Okay, next. We can not only resize the viewing area horizontally in time, we can also resize the viewing area vertically, because there are many layers of information, like here, like many different recorded streams. You can stretch it out with the signal stretching vertically, reset it, or you can also, there's the adjust signal height here, and this one allows you to not adjust the signal height, not stretch the signal, but just increase the gap between them. Okay. And for short duration records, instead of looking at a big chunk of several seconds, so these records are only 1.2 seconds long, it stretches to fill the whole space. So it immediately zooms in appropriately to the full record. So you should be able to go into PhysmoNote. PhysmoNote lists all of the databases that are available publicly in the PhysioNet databases. And you should be able to go to your favorite database in PhysioNet and explore it. And finally, you can also add your own annotations to any record. And these annotations are of a different color than the ones in PhysioNet, and they're stored on your local machine. So it's always there when you open it up again, but if you change browsers, it won't be there again. So it has to be the same browser stored on your local browser. So here are some examples of annotations. And so basically mark them in time, and then click on one of them, and it can be labeled. Here's the list of labels that I've used in PhysioNet. So we just put the list there, and we can add to the annotations. Okay.